Number 33. We're doing Flash Gordon.
Black is like the brightest day. Where are the heroes? Soon as they get here, everything will be alright. I need a hero. Someone superhuman who can come and save my life.
Every week we do a movie and we talk about it. We watch a movie and we come back and we talk about it. And this week, the movie is Flash.
He would save every one of us. I'll say this: the best part of this whole experience for me was the soundtrack.
Yeah, Queen, man.
Queen.
Yeah.
You can't beat Queen. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Just kind of like the whole, like Cliff said it. Who said it? Ronaldo? Did you say it? Who said the Fever Dream part?
I did.
And he's totally right. I'm watching this movie. I'm like, okay. But
Right.
I feel like I'm like a little, okay, moving along.
Well, that's because you got the producer, you got the guy who wrote the script, you got the director, and you got the art director. Because no, not just costume design. This man had full control of all art, and that was Danilo Donati, who was Italian and spoke no English. Okay. And half the crew is, so you got half the crew working this Italian, half the crew speaks English. That man doesn't speak English. The producer kept saying, let him do whatever he wants. It's his aesthetic. I love it.
I mean, it's fully an 80s movie. It has full 80s aesthetics, but I mean,
It is gorgeous.
Gorgeous is a strong word.
For its time.
Okay, it's visually impactful.
It's visually expansive. I'll give you that.
Yeah, like
It's
that crazy.
It's
That
creative
crazy art
beyond
director.
creative, but there's some stuff in it where you're like, that looks like garbage. But because I'm this far into it, I'm gonna let it go.
Oh yeah,
But I'm sure at the time it didn't look garbage though.
right at the time
At
it was
the time,
cutting
it
edge.
was-
I mean, I'm coming off of Star Wars with this. You know, I mean, you look at the special effects of Star Wars, and there's most of them are still good now, and that was before this.
We're talking
Okay,
Star
wait,
Wars.
wait,
It's
wait,
Star
wait,
Wars.
And I
wait,
know
wait.
I'm using the pinnacle. I get
George
that. I'm
Lucas
just
has
saying.
patents that nobody else has. So
Right, but also if you watch the very first VHS of Star Wars, you like the little weird boxes around all the ships when they're in space.
Mhm.
You don't remember that
I
from back
remember that.
then? Go
Yeah.
find an old
I
VHS
remember that.
copy and you'll see all the little. It was not as solid
Yeah.
back then as it is now. We've
Yeah.
had years for touch-ups to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically this is a story about Okay, I'm trying to do this.
No, I'll do it.
Go
So
ahead.
Ming the Merciless, alien ruler, and he decides he wants to conquer everything. And he basically will decimate your planet, leaving only the women who essentially he finds attractive to mate with and repopulate worlds, to repopulate all of them in his own image. Yes, this movie is definitely pervy right from the beginning.
Oh, big time.
Yes. But basically, he's just doing the Eagle the Living Planet plot, except that he's a dude.
He had buttons for his natural disasters. Like he had an
Yeah,
earthquake
yeah,
button. He had
Hot
a,
hail. Hot hail.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, all right. Tornado. What was it? Tornado, earthquake. There was something, but the hot hail one was the one that made me laugh. I'm like, you mean brimstone? Because that's what it is. Can we just pause for a second and realize that the savior of the world is the New York Jets quarterback?
Yes.
The scene where they're fighting in that little throne room or stuff, and he
Yes,
gets the
in the
ball,
throne
and the guy was
Yes.
like, "He's challenging you. You have to get down like this." Da, da, da.
Right.
And I'm like, what?
He's playing
the
a
fuck?
terrestrial game. What are you thinking? So bad.
Oh my!
So
Can you imagine
stupid.
being on set filming this movie?
Yo, apparently they were all like, what the hell? And Sam Jones didn't even get to finish filming the movie.
No.
Right?
Yeah, he got like into some form of dispute with De Laurentiis, the producer. And now Sam Jones in interviews swears that his management team was what came between them because they wanted a piece of the guy. They wanted like more money. And he's like, to hell with that, there's no more money. So there's all sorts of scenes in this movie where it's body doubles. So remember all the smoke is coming down on them, right?
Mhm.
That's a body double. The guy who did a bunch of voiceover lines for George Lucas and for Jim Henson, he does the voiceover lines for Flash in many of the scenes. So that when there's scenes where Flash doesn't sound like himself, that's the voiceover dude.
I don't think I noticed that, but okay.
The guy's a very good voiceover actor, very good. But there are certain little moments in the production where like he's like off camera, not facing them, and like the audio sounds a little bit like linear, and you're like, huh. So so now I know. It says I did not know then. But man, I mean, and obviously, I love this movie as a kid. So like, I have learned more and more and more and more through the years, and I'm like, the movie's insane.
I mean, I can see why it's a cult classic, but it is out there.
Look at
And
the cast.
chick you just showed, I thought she's the better looking of the two. The Princess Aura.
Well, she had to be, you know, because she had to be the more seductress character.
Yeah, I guess.
So here's the cast. You got Sam Jones as Flash Gordon, Melanie Anderson as Dale Arden,
Max von Sydow,
yeah.
How about we
Emperor
have,
Ming.
yeah, but
He's
how
Emperor
about we
Ming.
got Reptevia as and Zarkov. Every time he opened his mouth, I'm like, I was waiting for him to sing "If I Were a Rich Man."
Shane Topol as Dr. Hans Zarkov, Ornella Moody as
Topol.
Princess Aura, Timothy Dalton
Yes.
Yeah.
as Prince
That's
Baron.
one of like the best fights is Flash and Timothy Dalton.
Yeah.
Who
Brian
looked like
Blessed.
Errol Flynn through the whole movie.
Yeah,
Right?
I love it.
The tree. What was it? The God Arbor. I was like,
Oh,
okay.
silly.
Let me tell you, I did not know what was going on in my youth. All I knew is that I love seeing Timothy Dalton and Sam Jones on screen. Loved it.
Peter Wingard, Clytus.
You skipped Prince Voltan.
Yes,
I
he did.
said him. I said Brian Bless
Oh,
as Prince Voltan.
How about every time he none of his lines didn't there was no lines that he had in the movie didn't end with him laughing at the end of it.
Yeah.
Everything was
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah. Do you know he had a special perch built for him because of the hefty wings that they did not want damaged? So everyone else all the other actors had to lie down on the floor on their stomach because of the hefty wings that they couldn't damage. And he had a special seat, a special stool, and they're like, "Oh, look, you're perched again, aren't you, Brian?" And he would just be cursing them out and stuff.
Jeez.
Great.
That's like the smoking right there on the set on breakfast. Can't believe I'm doing this damn movie. Peter Wingard as Clytus.
Yep.
Mariangela as Mulatto as Kala.
She's
John
the one
Osborne.
that's the general, right?
Yes.
Okay.
John Osborne as the Borean priest. Richard O'Brien as
Richard
Falco.
O'Brien, writer of Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like, just so you know, like all these people were coming off some really great stuff in their lives. And they're like, let's do Flash Gordon.
John Hallam as Luro. Philip Stone as Zogi the High Priest. Suzanne Danielle as Serving Girl. William Hopkins as Munson. Ted Carroll as Byro. And so forth. Robbie Coltrane as Man at Airfield.
Yeah,
I don't remember him in the movie.
He's literally the only dude in the airfield at the beginning of the movie.
Jeez,
Yeah.
man. And I like him. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. Well, he's
so
Hagrid, but I remember the movie when Nuns on the Run?
Yes.
He's
Yes.
one of the main two guys.
Yeah. By the way, like I love how there was like shameless inspiration from Hawkman for the Hawkmen.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
DC's gonna sue somebody?
Well, I guess they can't because there are Hawkmen in the Flash Gordon.
The original.
Yeah, the original. So it's like, oh, okay, we don't like it, but go ahead.
Yeah, for everybody that doesn't know out there, this is not original. This comes from old serial shows back in the 40s. 50s?
Well, the comic book, then the movie
book,
serial, the radio serial.
Yeah.
It did get an animated series. Yo, can you imagine the animated series came out just before this with like the hype for the movie, and like people like the animated movie, and then this very divisive.
Mhm.
I mean, look right there. That's Errol Flynn.
Yes.
He's
Well,
just
that was the
missing hat.
inspiration.
Yeah, I'm
He's
sure.
literally missing the hat, and that's it.
By the way, this thing was about 80 feet off the ground, that platform,
Is
and
that right?
it actually moved. And Sam and Timothy Dalton trained for weeks to be able to do that scene without dying.
That scene was
Oh,
pretty.
God, did they put real spikes in there or something?
No, but they really did pop up from the floor, so they could hurt you. Yeah.
I mean, that scene was pretty ridiculous. It was,
That was,
it
The whole
that was a
movie's
cool
pretty
part of the
ridiculous.
movie.
well, it is, but like,
Yeah.
if of the two people in the entire movie that you would think would have a decent fight scene, it just looked like it reminded me of. And then we talked about this a couple weeks ago, Sam. WrestleMania 3 with the 10 minutes of feats of strength between Hulk and
and
Ultimate
Warrior.
where you're like,
Yeah.
all right, enough of that. Actually, do something. That's what this felt like to me. Do something. You kind of been avoiding each other the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Restored to 4K. I didn't watch it in 4K.
Oh, and how about he you know, they get shot off in the rocket at the beginning of the movie, right? So he's wearing his own clothing. You know, you got Flash on the front with, you know, because that's who you are. You know, you're wearing your own merch. He just happens to get a red wife beater with a lightning bolt on the front. That's his logo.
Yeah, I wonder where
That
that
just
came from.
happened- they just happen to have
Where did that
those
come
things
from? But we're so nitpicky nowadays. Come on, you know what I mean? Back in the days, it's like it was an adventure of a lifetime.
Plus, they're an advanced alien race. Like, they probably could have whipped it up, be like, you like this, give it to him.
What'd you say, Phil?
I think this was eye candy for kids back in the day. You know, like this
Oh, it was eye
definitely
candy
like
for everybody, Phil. It was eye candy for everybody.
This movie is the kind of movie that should have had a line of toys that would have sold.
Oh,
sold,
yes.
but
yes.
it never did.
This could use a reboot.
And
They
they're
tried
trying.
to clean up with the
Done
script.
properly. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because, like, this whole movie is your storyboard. Just take this movie, chop it up, and redo everything, but do it better. You know what I mean?
And maybe leave the plot to being about conquering worlds and not the other stuff.
Well, but if you do it right and you're a little more subtle about it, he just comes off as evil, and that's, you know, instead of kind of creepy.
But he's creepy and evil. That's actually what I kind of love about it. Like,
Yeah.
part of me is like, yo, whoever remakes it, just lean into it. Just go for it. But maybe give Flash a better origin, you know?
Yeah.
And then part of me is like, nah, maybe we want it to be a family movie. Let's not lean into that.
Yeah. What does it say? Like a fairy tale set in a
Discotheque in the cloud.
That's not a bad. That's not bad.
Listen, the best part of the movie, I'm gonna tell you, for me, the best part of the movie is when he gets on a little glider, the music comes on, and it goes Flash. And I'm like, classic. I was like, I felt like it pulled me into the movie. Like, okay, this is one part of the movie. This is amazing, awesome. That's the best part for me. What's the best part for you guys?
Well, when I was younger, it was his butt. I love that part. But but actually, I do like him fighting the prince on the floating thing. You know? But then again, maybe it's because like it's been burned into my mind as like, man, I just love these two dudes with this disc.
What about you, Phil?
Oh, yeah, it would have been the Timothy Dalton fight on that platform.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That there was a part where like you know, Ming's daughter is Flash. They're in the ship together, and he's using that telepath thing to
Oh yeah. They're
Wait,
reading each other's
so
minds.
she is like all over him, making out with him and stuff.
Yeah.
And Dale's like, what did you just say? No, forget that. Don't worry.
Right.
What about you, Greaser guy?
I mean, I don't know if I have a favorite scene. There's a lot of stuff in it that I found ridiculous, so I'm trying to think of something.
But
else.
there's some really cool stuff in this movie, even if it like there's some really
I did
cool
like the
stuff in
setup.
this movie.
The opening stuff I thought was pretty good. I was like, all right, I'm into this movie when it opened up, because I like I said, I'd never seen it, so I'm going in completely blind. And the setup with the, you know, until you get to Hot Hail, because I started laughing. But the song and the setup of, you don't know what is going on, but they're going to destroy, you know, Earth, and you know, I'm like, all right. But how about the rocket gets shot off, but they still have to have the foot on the foot pedal, lest they'll go flying around? They never fully explain that.
They don't explain a lot of things. In this
No,
movie,
they don't.
Greaser guy.
I really
also love when Flash shows up towards the end. Oh no, when he's coming in on the bike, and they get the lightning field down. First of all, the lightning field, and he's coming in, and Dale knows that it's him, and they're trying to whisk her away, and she goes, and her line was, "Go Flash," and they just
and she goes like that. She runs off.
yeah,
like...
she got his like. I also love that, you know, when the ship that he decides he can't get off the ship because someone has to pilot it into the you know, whatever, the building. So he doesn't get off the ship, but so he crashes in, and the only person who can't get out of the way is Ming the Merciless. The only person in the room.
Yes,
And he
yes.
goes through him. I was like, all right, I'm gonna let it go, but come on, what are we doing?
I thought the part that really made Ming a true villain was when they were torturing his daughter.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it
Yeah.
mole?
Something like that.
Mole
But then he was
rats?
just drinking. And he's like, continue. I was like, oh, you
Yeah.
evil bastard.
Well, even, and that's when she decides that you know, I'm done with this guy.
It gave me Thanos vibes. Put it
Yeah.
that way. When he was
Yeah.
torturing Nebula type stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I really love Zarkov, by the way.
Which one is
Like,
that? Is that the gold
he's
plate
the-
face?
Well, Matt, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Zarkov is the scientist that goes with them that knows everything about everything.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Let's go on the roof guy. I'm sorry. I meant
Clytus
no,
is the gold plate face.
Clytus, yeah.
I loved him. So it turns out in filming, a lot of the stuff was ad-libbed and kind of crazy.
I can believe that.
And there's a couple of times the producer would say yes to everything because of what the art director wanted, right? But at one point he caught wind of something where like Dale was supposed to be a spider creature because Ming used the ring to hypnotize Flash, and he's like, "No, we're not doing this. We're absolutely not doing this. No, we're not doing that. No." And that absolutely did not make it into the movie. But anyhow, so the guy playing
Clytus.
Clytus.
the guy playing Clytus had to fly back in to do more scenes, right? And so he's trying to take advantage of the situation, and he's like, we could just make it so my character lives, right? And they're like, yeah, no, he really needs to die in the scene. He's like, okay. So they do the scene where he dies on the pit and whatever, and he goes, but then they called him back. And it's his hand that takes Ming's ring at the end.
Oh, is that right?
And he's like, so Clytus somehow lived. Ah! And I'm like, yo.
There's your sequel.
And the sequel would have become the new predominant villain. So anyhow, he was like so excited, and he's like, and then the movie.
What if they did a sequel now?
Can you
Like
imagine we get Sam Jones back out there?
He doesn't look that much different.
Doesn't it? I mean, he does look different, but
He looks older, but he doesn't look like 75 or however old he is.
Okay, but let's be real. The movie will be about his son, Flash Jr. I mean, come on.
Oh,
That's cool.
certainly. I'm just saying.
That's cool.
It's not like he's falling down decrepit because he was at Terrificon a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And listen, he still runs a security company.
Oh, is that right?
And he squeezes in the time for the shows, like between running the company and doing the show. So like, that's really cool. But yeah, the bad relationship between him and the producer resulted in nothing for him. Everything he was offered forward was small or television and bad. And like, he was basically blacklisted. And he said eventually that they made amends, but it was way after his career was destroyed.
Wow. That's sad. Is this outfit like the outfit of the 80s? Because it's giving me very Lois Lane vibes, and I feel like I've seen this outfit.
Color scheme, yes, but if you notice, you can really tell everything from the art director, right? Did you lots of shiny clothes for the women, regardless of it's earth-based or alien-based, shiny clothes. By the way, that black dress that she's in later on in the throne room is a 50-pound dress. It drove her crazy. For the wedding. She was like, it's a 50-pound dress. Like every outfit was so over the top. Like there was special accommodations for all the main actors because they're like, how am I supposed to move? How can I breathe in this? Like all of that. I mean, like it's just legendarily outrageous. And I don't know, somehow it's made me love the movie more, All
right. That's Flash Gordon, everybody. Classic 1980s sci-fi film. Starring Sam Jones
also
and a bunch of
Schlockfest.
classic. Yeah. If you have not seen it, You can watch it on YouTube or you can rent it. Yeah. Nothing more we can say about this. You're into sci-fi? Go out. If you have seen it, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think about it.
It's special.
And if you just like crazy set designs and set pieces and
Mhm.
art aesthetic, it's definitely worth it for that. Like if
Oh,
you're
yeah.
really into that, this movie
I
delivers.
feel it almost
It
should have won
does
an
not
award
hold
for
back.
all that.
Yeah.
Like, I think it didn't get considered for award just because of like the type of movie it is.
Yeah.
But like you said, the sets and the design and everything.
I mean, look at
It's
Ming's
top-notch.
outfit. Like, look at that.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at his
Crazy.
outfit,
The
his
way they
eyebrows.
make the color red pop in this movie.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
I gotta tell you, crazy genius, the art director. Crazy genius.
all right. Yeah, that was fun. Talk about a little Flash Gordon.
The thing became more popular, like not on release, but after release, it was on like channel 11
All the time.
all
the
the
time.
time.
And it was
All
on
the time.
cable all the time. And it was readily available at the rent for every video store all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time I was in the video store, there was always even in Blockbuster, there was 4 copies of Flash Gordon all the time.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm like, oh, okay.